The PBA certainly has its share of superstars. But this year, the young guns have begun to make some noise. Which of these PBA stars will tame the tough animal patterns? We find out next as the PBA Fall Swing on CBS Sports Network starts now. Detroit is one of the nation's top bowling towns. We're here at Allen Park and historic Thunder Bowl lanes for the PBA Fall Swing on CBS Sports Network. Today, it's the Wolf Open. Doherty Simonson, longtime vet and the youngster, head-to-head. For Austin, Texas, the two-hander gets us started. And makes a two-pin. PBA, December 2013. Hard to believe, only 19. Takes care of his single pin spare conversion.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this 32-foot oil pattern breaks down today, Dave. One of the things that players have really battled with throughout the Wolf Open is the wet-dry condition.
15-year pro, Tom Doherty gets it going with a strike. Perfect spot in that 1-3 pocket. Let's check out our lane conditions here, Randy.
32 feet in length, this oil pattern, extremely dry to the outside part of the lane. A little bit of oil left. And most of the players using urethane equipment and staying away from the reactive stuff. Urethane obviously is going to be much smoother reacting. Tom Doherty going with urethane. However, Anthony Simonson deciding to use reactive early on.
Good start for Tom Doherty. Looking for his second career PBA Tour title. Also won in 2012 Bowler's Journal Scorpion Championship in Vegas.
You can see him just feeding it out to the outside part of the lane there, just right of first arrow. And that ball reaction there is kind of old school. Back when we used to use urethane. That's all we had.
Back to the key. Wow. Rev rate, power bowler, ball speed, impressive, blasting through that 1-3 pocket.
In our opening match, both players not using their thumb. One does it with one hand. This young man does it with two. But as you can see, he's using reactive resin. He's going to be farther left than Tom Doherty, and you can see just how much more down lane reaction there is when using reactive versus urethane.
Dave, Randy, our entire crew. Deb Lewis from suburban Detroit. Looking for help on the 10-pin, not this time for Simonson.
He is light in the first frame on that lane. This ball does get to the pocket, but it gets there late, coming in behind the head pin and leaving that soft 10. Youngest player ever to win a major.
Has his mark, 19 years, 39 days. Previous record held by Mike Albee, 1979 PBA World Championship. In Vegas, 19 years, 83 days. And Anthony certainly embraces that history. In our meeting with him yesterday, appreciates what he's been able to accomplish at such a young age.
And there you see the arsenal, the black hammer with a hook potential of 3.
Doherty looks to and does. What a start for Tom Doherty. Time for the track tech talk.
Unusual style by Tom Doherty. Doesn't use his thumb, but look at the long push away. Very late timing, short backswing, but the great power because he has to uncup the wrist at the bottom of the swing. Just watch how deliberate this push away is. Most of the modern games nowadays, the power players, they get the ball into the swing very early. Watch how late this is. Oh,
wow. Comes in way high, looking for the front four, and now has to deal with a very difficult spare conversion attempt.
Yeah, the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. This looks pretty good until about right there. Breaks loose and goes through the face, and he pays for it. He's going to now try to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin and throw it over into the 4-7.
Tough one. Can't convert. 4-7 stands. So the open frame after the perfect start for Doherty in his third TV appearance of this season. Masters in Indy, TOC in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Finished third there. Lost his opening match to Wes Malott at the Masters. He's had a good year. Back to the key.
And there you see, right? But there you see just how sensitive this oil pattern can be, Dave. Even though there's dry boards to the right, if the bowling ball gets there too early and with too much hit, it's going to go sideways, and it's exactly what happens here.
Throws a 15-pound ball. Told us yesterday the touch would be so important on this oil pattern. The two-hander relies on feel and power. And missed the pocket.
It actually looks like he moved further right, gets the ball farther right on the lane where the friction's supposed to be, and that ball actually labors and goes light, leaving the 2-4-10. So it looks like he keeps chasing it right, and the ball's not hooking more.
Challenging spare conversion. 2-4-10, no. 10 stands, open frame. So they exchange opens, Randy, keeping things very interesting here.
Well, Anthony had a chance to take the lead if he would have struck in the fifth. Instead, it's an open frame, and now Tom Doherty steps up here on the right lane with the lead.
Messenger, and the 10 wiggles and stands for Tom Doherty.
Was that another animal reference?
Yes.
Watch the Messenger. Head pin goes to the sidewall, goes in front, gives the 10 pin a look, but doesn't catch enough of it.
Tom Doherty, Riverview, Florida, Tampa area. Lifelong Floridian, has that 10 pin. He owns and operates the Hall of Fame Pro Shop, Royal Lanes in Lutz, Florida. When we talked about the great season, he mentioned that yesterday, Randy, in our interview, that yes, been great to make TV and in a couple of majors, but it's time now to deliver on television, win for the first time in 4 years.
Well, quietly having the best season of his career.
Right.
And I think you're exactly right, and so is Tom, and he now has to start cashing in. He's 41 years of age, and his youth is behind him. Make no mistake about it, this is a young man's sport.
Kind of like that.
Pretty good looking shot.
Shot.
A little ugliness early on here, Dave, with the oil pattern transitioning. But Tom Doherty's managing it okay. Last two balls in the pocket after the big split in the fourth. Spare here, and he will maintain a 12-pin lead.
Ten-pin conversion. Doherty, Simonson, the veteran and the 19-year-old youngster head-to-head. It's a great match so far from Allen Park, Michigan. Look at the headquarters of General Motors, banks of the Detroit River, the Renaissance Center nearby downtown Detroit, 12-pin lead for Doherty. Moments ago, Anthony speaking with Jimmy Callahan, his Storm Tour rep.
You got to make sure you get it to the friction on that.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the left lane. My ball reaction is okay.
Yeah, for the right lane, it didn't get there.
Yeah, no, the right lane didn't get there. But the left lane, I can't get it to read up off of it.
Yeah, the left lane, you got to get it to the friction.
Because, I mean, I feel like I'm...
Like you say, if you missed in, it's going to hook, and if you're long right, it's going to not read it. So
yeah,
you got to get it.
Sounds to me like a lot of confusion right now for Anthony Simonson.
So how does he overcome that?
You're asking me?
Yes. You won 13 titles. You're in the Hall of Fame.
I think he has to. I think the right lane's okay because he knows it's going to hook back on that lane. It's the left lane that's the issue. He keeps getting it to the spot on that left lane, and it's not hooking. So there's the spot, there's the friction there. But when he gets to that same spot on the left lane, it doesn't hook. Problem is, if he moves too far right and goes too straight and gets to that spot, it's going through the nose of Brooklyn again. There's a look at his arsenal, the rocket ship. Remember, Tom Doherty's was 3.0, the rocket ship 6.0. And that's the difference between urethane and reactive resin. This is going to be a very interesting shot here for Simonson on the left lane.
And the youngster responds. Nice break, hit on the 7-pin. And back-to-back jacks in the 6th and 7th for Simonson to keep things very interesting.
Well, this ball was leaning on the edge. You can see just how far right that was. And then look at this pin carry. 7-10, the last two to go down. 6 goes to the sidewall, takes care of the 10. Not sure what hit the 7-pin, but there was a lot of action.
Response, Doherty.
Come on.
Yeah, and this is where it gets frustrating for Doherty because the last 3 balls all in the pocket, and all he has to show for it are all 9 counts. Right now, Tom Doherty looking like the patron saint of bad carry.
Working on a spare. Has another spare. It's a tight match. Wake up with the jolts, says the outspoken Craig Carton and former star quarterback Boomer Esiason team up to bring you all the latest from around the world of sports. Boomer and Carton, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern, right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Love me some Boomer Esiason, man. I loved watching him play.
Those guys are great.
Loved watching him play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Harry.
And carry, yes, Tom. Big strike. In the 8th frame, neck and neck match.
Yeah, 1 pin match, but Simonson can take the lead now with a strike here in the 8th frame.
Looks for the turkey. Anthony told us he did know before his major championship that he would be the youngest ever. And he's embraced that. Young star on tour. Whoa! Channel. Oh my goodness.
And that couldn't have happened at a worst possible time. We've seen gutter balls throughout the week on this pattern, and it gets right, and it gets right quick, and it goes in.
An 8-pin count, so really tough frame for Simonson. He was right with Tom Doherty, stride for stride until that disaster in the 8th frame, and now he's down by 25 pins. And on the bench, Doherty sees that lead expand. Now, can he finish? That's going to be the question when he steps up in his foundation frame.
Well, he's all but gift wrapped match number 1 to Tom Doherty. Lack of ball reaction, and it forces his brain to tell to his body to throw it to the right. After he throws it in the gutter, guess what? He's not going to throw another one in, so he gets it a little inside of target, and it's just not going to grab. I think the move for Simonson was to throw a stronger ball. If he's going to play the line that he's playing now, I think he needed something stronger. The other option is going to something weaker and moving right. But right now, he looks like he's trapped in no man's land.
Chris Barnes, 18-time titleist. Next up, as a 3 seed. A solid shot, 4-pin for Tom. Relatively easy single pin conversion coming up. To inch closer to the victory here in match 1.
Needs to fill frames here in the 9th and 10th frame, and he will shut out Simonson. Uses his thumb on spares, but not on the first ball. Good spare shooter as well.
Very interesting approach, certainly, with his ball grip.
Right now, what he's looking at, Dave, is he's trying to figure out a better way, a more consistent way to the pocket for his upcoming match.
Looking ahead, and it's Chris Barnes. Formidable opponent, despite the back surgery from last year. Locked future Hall of Famer, Chris Barnes. Tom Doherty has wrapped up the match. Barnes gets a start at 2. That comes in high. Dave Ryan with Bill O'Neill, our guest commentator for the rest of this broadcast, and Randy is back hustling from lane level.
You know, what's interesting, Bill, is that Chris Barnes actually changed his starting lane right before the interview. He was going to start on the right lane, and he changed it right before we came back on the air. First opening shot, 4.79.
I guess he likes the right lane better then. What's the finish on it?
Tough split, things off, and just the 8-pin counts. 4-9 stand for Chris Barnes. Early open. Bill, how do you overcome that mentally, an early open frame?
You know, it's just one frame, and you know that the scores are going to be low. You watched Doherty bowl the first match, and he didn't have a great ball reaction to throw a lot of strikes. So you know, you just kind of take your open frame and move on. Whoa! They're hooking a little more. Okay.
7-pin count, 3-6-10 for Tom here.
You know, Bill, I thought it was interesting before we went on the air, you were watching practice, and you said if the TV pair gets like the practice pair, they're going to be ugly. What exactly did you see? Because your prediction, as of right now, is correct. It's spot on.
Yeah, I mean, with the urethane, no matter how much, you know, Barnes said that only a couple guys were throwing it, but it's still enough to make them really tight down the lane. And now you see that Doherty's trying to throw this urethane ball, and he's trying to throw it slower to make sure it doesn't do what Anthony Simonson's ball did. And so now he gets a little bit too slow, and it goes high. So now it becomes very tricky.
All 10 down for Tom Doherty. A lone title, 201-82 win over Oscar Palermo. Vegas in 2012. It's been a while.
Well, folks, the urethane bowling balls carry oil down towards the pins. Reactive resin balls take oil off the lane and burn it up in the front. And so what happens is when you have a lot of urethane balls go down the lane, or any urethane ball, you start to get a lot more carry down. You get that. Wow. One ball goes high, one ball goes light. Chris Barnes is using reactive resin trying to blend that out. Bill, based on what you're seeing now, what would you do?
If it was me, I would use a ball that has a lot more surface on it, so that I could just throw it at the gutter and let it just, you know, be really smooth off it. I think when you have balls that have shine on it, they do one thing. They do, you know, just like he did here. Left it goes high, right it goes light.
I couldn't agree more. I think you got to go with strength, don't you? So that if nothing else.
Took it out. How about that conversion? On the 210. Sweet split conversion for Chris Barnes. Look at our tough spare replay brought to you by Hammer, guys. No question. Bill, what do you think?
I think this is a spare that Barnes probably makes 40% of the time.
Wow.
So he's
that's
an
high.
excellent spare shooter.
And again, getting back to the surface of the bowling ball, go with something stronger so that you at least know that if you get it right, it's going to hook.
Kenny rebound. Losing the channel there, and oh my goodness, can it be?
And I think this is what we're talking about here.
Right. I mean, hang down lane, ball's too shiny.
You need to at least know one thing it's going to do. So
Right.
if you use a ball with surface on it, you know it's going to hook early. At least you have that.
Right.
At this point, he doesn't know what his ball's going to do.
And if that ball doesn't hook from that spot, you got to get out of that ball.
It has to hook back from there.
Right.
Okay. Well, you know where to stand now.
Well, he did it once. Can he do it again? Have you ever seen a back-to-back 210? I haven't.
I mean, I have, but not very often. Maybe we'll see it here.
This would be spectacular. Nope. Wow. Off. Whiffs and open. Well, Chris does not look himself.
Come on.
Talk about the injury he's been overcoming. Surgery last year. Authority's been watching a couple bowlers just implode on the bench here. Now can Tom take it? Yes, that's how you do it. Capitalize on an opponent's error, right, Bill?
That's right. I mean, you got to strike up there, and your opponent's lost. You can get up here in the third and fourth and really put the screws to him here.
I mean, I think if you're going to move right and go straight like Tom Doherty's doing, you have to do it with a urethane bowling ball. The other move is going to something stronger, reactive, maybe a little surface moving in and throwing it to the dirt, getting something that you know is going to read each and every time. But I think for Chris Barnes, if he continues with the same bowling ball and he continues to move right, I think it's trouble.
There was a bug
I think that if he moves a couple right and tries to slow down and avoid the 210, he's going to go high again.
Yeah, I agree.
Chris is as
Nice and slow.
much a thinking man, strategist as anyone in the game's ever seen, so he is mulling over all the options right now. Fourth frame looks for the turkey. And delivers. A roundhouse right for Tom Doherty early in this match, and look at that lead, 46 pins, thanks to Barnes' early struggles. He's got reason to smile. Would you be smiling, Bill? That's a big lead. A little early for a smile, maybe.
The only time Bill smiles is at the end when he's holding the trophy.
Yeah,
in the check.
he's a pretty serious dude on lanes. That's true. All right, Chris Barnes trolling looking for, and oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 7-10.
Right now, Barnes feels like he's slowly being poisoned.
You know, I actually asked him yesterday when he was practicing about using surface, and he said that wasn't his game plan, and he did not want to do that. He felt more comfortable with balls that were a little shinier. So he's sticking to his game plan, which you have to do that on TV, but to a certain point where you have to get out of it.
Chris Barnes struggling the back surgery from last year. Talk more about it.
Back's feeling okay. I mean, actually, the back feels good. My leg is the bigger issue. So when they trimmed that disc, it was originally eating on a nerve. I'd lost a lot of strength in my leg. And so it kind of fully came back. I felt like I was as close to 100% as I'll be. And then, you know, we had a new dog. I got tripped up over it, no big deal, but I zinged that nerve again. And so it came all the way down to my knee again. It's regenerating again. So I'm 85 or 90% right now, I think.
Yeah, he just looks like he's gingerly walking back toward the bench, guys. Does get a strike. Some
Hey, welcome back to TV.
applause.
All right,
That's
good
not
times.
So good. But he's down by 57 pins. By the way, going back to the 7-10, Jess Stayrook, Tucson, Arizona, 1991. Last person to convert a 7-10 PBA Tour on TV. That's a long-standing record that I was maybe we would see changed by Chris Barnes, but not today.
You would think that it would have been converted a couple more times, seeing how hard the players throw at it these days.
Bringing 10 pin. Stays solid.
Bill, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's keeping the ball in play. His ball reaction is very predictable.
And that's what you need out here right now. With as tricky as the lane pattern is, and now you see your opponent has 40 in the fourth. You just have to hit the pocket, leave 9, and get to the end of the game.
Takes care of his mark.
You surprised at all at what Doherty's done this season? Best season ever for him.
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, you know, even though he's been out here a long time, he's consistently improved, and now he's at the point where, like anybody, when you have a little bit of success and then your confidence grows, then you can turn it into a lot more success.
Wow, look at all those red circles. Tough one for Chris Barnes. Okay, maybe we're have that 7-10 after all. We've got a little fun with Chris Barnes here. You can laugh it up when you're up by 54 pins.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's one thing we learned about Tom Doherty, it's he's very entertaining. And when you look back at the game that he bowled against Mika when he shot 100 on television, he had a pretty good time with that. And you know what? Can the 7-10 be made here at Thunderbolt in the arena here?
You saw some pins bounce out, but they always bounced out into the gutter. You didn't really see a whole lot of pins bounce back.
How about some history? No. Tom Doherty, 7-4 career TV record. Now that 207.182 does include the 100 game when Mika Koivuniemi flirted with his 300.
Yeah, that'll put a dent in the old average.
It will, but Tom just laughs about it when he talks about that.
That makes that 207 look a lot better.
Ball change for Mr. Barnes.
Whoa. Well, it wasn't a split.
Thank you.
10 pin.
Appreciate
He's
that.
probably pretty happy about not having
Great break.
a split to do.
Wow.
This has been a struggle.
Not enough reaction, has to play too far to the right. Ball comes in late.
My opinion is you're just not getting the ball to start up early enough.
Right.
It's too far down the lane, and you can see it. It just doesn't have enough time to get around the corner and get back to flush.
Bill, how often on the tour, on the diverse oil patterns that you play on, how often are players looking to get their bowling balls to read early?
It's the most important thing in my opinion. I think most amateurs look at their balls as hooking from left to right, and professionals look at it in front to back way.
Right.
You have to get your ball hooking in the right spot, you know, in the front of the lane. If it's too far down the lane, it's just not going to have the angle's going to be bad, and your carry's going to suffer.
So the days of looking for that skid snap are over. You guys are trying to get your balls to read early, correct?
That's correct.
So it's,
yes.
so it's off the end of the pattern, nice and smooth.
You still want even the guys who are hooking a lot left to right are still looking for the balls to hook in the right spot in front.
Back to Tom Doherty.
Uh-oh.
Almost in the big four there for a second.
Woo.
Just the four stands.
Wow.
Avoids a disaster.
It was almost.
kind of
It was
cushion.
almost a split.
It sure was.
Great observation, Tom Doherty. Almost a split. Right through the face. Big four is standing, and now it's just the 4-pin.
I love that line because he's trying to make Barnes angry.
Right.
That's what he's doing. He's trying to get in it, even though he's got the match in his hands. You know, and it's all a matter of what he does. He still has to have the little jab in there.
Well, I don't know where this one's going.
I think he has a decent idea where it's going.
I think
Jason Belmonte is next, by the way, 2 seed.
I think he knows where it's going. He's just not real sure what it's going to do.
Well, he's better get sure because Belmo waits. Oh, there's a strike. Wouldn't even watch it down lane there, Bill.
To me, it's all an act. I think that was a really, really good shot, and he knew it was good.
I agree.
And
So it's a sarcastic
Yes.
disgust.
Yes.
I love it. This guy is great TV, Tom Doherty. We need him on television more often.
Oh,
there was
man.
nothing not to like about that
What
shot.
an entertainer. That's pretty good. All right, end of the note here for Chris Barnes. Does strike. Chris did tell us that the doctor did the surgery last fall, the same doctor that's worked with both Prince Fielder, now the retired Texas Rangers slugger, and Tony Romo. Cowboys quarterback out with a broken bone in his back. See his arsenal.
Going with a boost, 5.0 hook rating. Bill, I think if he was more up into that 8.0, he'd have a better look.
Or even if he just used this same ball
With
with
some
like a 1,000 grit on it or something, it would be better. But if he strikes here, he makes Doherty finish this game out with a couple marks.
Still 203 possibility if he sheets it.
Yes, okay, things get interesting here. Cuts into the lead with 3 in a row. forcing Tom to show up.
Check out this spin carry, too. Very interesting. Again, coming in real late. Pocket 4, 6, 7. It was there for a second.
See, now we got a match
my
here.
Goodness.
Now we have a match.
2-8-10. Little double wood here.
Look at Chris. Think he knows it?
He can't believe it. I can't believe it. After the start CB had.
The count is really important on this spare.
Yes.
He has to get 2.
Got a little right and hung.
Like all of us, when our spine tilt gets a little bit forward and we get on top of ourselves a little bit, we miss it at the bottom. That's what happens.
It's an open frame in the ninth, so late, and the door, can it be, guys, is open for Chris Barnes?
Well, Doherty needs 3 in the 10th here, and he'd shut out Chris Barnes by a stick. But if he doesn't double, Barnes can. And he could take this match and steal it right from Tom Doherty.
That would be incredible.
What a turn of events here, guys.
That's what Tom needs. First one. Yes, there's one.
All right, so another strike in 9. We have the possibility of a tie.
Seems to me that anytime his ball speed is just a little bit on the slower side is when it's the best. When he gets a little bit firmer and it doesn't hook in the first 30 feet of the lane, he's got problems.
Sure.
So if I'm him, I'm just thinking slow here.
Oh boy.
Got it up the lane.
Crossing over.
See that?
6-10.
That was the full Yankee.
Just
right
trying
at
to
the
make
bottom.
it interesting, folks.
Well, you are, Tom.
See what
Barnes
he's got
needs
in
a
the
double.
tank Still.
Barnes gets a double, he wins. How about that?
He did throw it slow, but he did also miss an arrow left, so that wasn't my advice.
Oh, my goodness.
It's okay.
Yeah, he just needed,
I only needed one.
He needed one.
Yeah, just needed one there, but still. So now Chris Barnes, a double, stepping
right
up.
here?
Barnes is going to take a re-rack.
Win this match. It is unfathomable to imagine from the beginning this matchup with Tom Doherty. Bill, he was so far behind.
Yeah, I think he thought he was out, but he saw once, once he had a chance to throw a triple and he actually feels like his ball's rolling through the pins okay, he got up there in the ninth and made a great shot.
He was down 56 at one point after 4 frames.
That's incredible.
Now he has a chance to win. This same situation happened to Chris Barnes in Tournament of Champions one year with Michael Haugen Jr. But that was for a title.
Man, he missed that pocket.
Unbelievable.
I didn't like that one at all.
Never got into the spot.
Chris's main problems on shots he needs in the 10th is he gets very forward and his upper body gets way too far in front of him, and then this is what happens. He misses it at the bottom, and that one never got far enough right either.
So Tom Doherty on the bench does win. Watching Chris Barnes fail to strike there. The 10-pin stands. So Tom Doherty knocks off Chris Barnes. The take on Jason Belmonte, the reigning and 3-time PBA Player of the Year. Doherty looking for just a second career title. Looking to upset Belmonte when we return to suburban Detroit. Doherty survives emotional turmoil in the second match. Bill, what's that like? You have a huge lead. You see Chris Barnes have a chance to win, but you survive. Now what's Tom's mindset like?
I would be out there thinking I'm playing on house money. So I'm just going to... He knows what he has to do. He has to keep his hand at the back, and he's got to throw it slow. Just like that.
Just like that.
I got a feeling it's going to take a little more than 190 to beat this guy.
We haven't had a 200 game yet, and this is an extremely
Just a
high-scoring
funny
oil
feeling.
pattern. The players averaged over 230 throughout the week to get to this point. And I think Tom Doherty's right. I think he's going to have to bowl better than 190 to beat this man.
From Orange, New South Wales, Australia. Future Hall of Famer. 8th-year pro, Jason Belmonte. Nice carry, good start.
This is where his advantage comes into play on a pattern like this now, where you see how wet dry they're getting, where his ball roll gives his hand at the back of it, and his rev rate allows it to smooth that out a little bit.
Look at that position at the top of the backswing, and then all that power created with the bent elbow and the cupped wrist, and then he just unleashes at the bottom like throwing a yo-yo, a 15-pound yo-yo off the end of his hand.
Jason's lost a little weight, looks good. Eating better, working out more.
Oh, that's unlucky.
4-pin, good shot.
It's always funny when you're in the back now and you see things differently. Like he thought that was unlucky. I thought it was a bad shot. So, but when you're in the moment, you always think it's better than what it really is.
That's right. Different perspective, Bill, for you here in the booth.
Yeah.
We appreciate you joining us today. There's the mark for Belmo. Lost about 20 pounds, he said, and feels great. Randy told you he's back, right?
I asked him a couple nights ago. I said, "Are you back?" He goes, "I'm back, mate."
That's bad news for Tom Doherty and the rest of the PBA.
I mean, Bill would know. Bill and Jason are tour roommates.
Strike for Doherty. His opinions are strong, and he's never afraid to let you hear them. Tune into the Doug Gottlieb Show, presented by Sleep Number. Weekdays at 3 Eastern. Doug turns the sports world on its head. Right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Yeah,
Perfect against Belmo.
He's kind of Belmonte's kryptonite. He's never lost to Jason on television. And they've had some good verbal battles back and forth in those 3 matches.
Did push right into that 1-3 pocket. Trenches all 10 down into the pin.
He makes sure he lets Jason know every chance he gets that he's 3-0 against him on TV too. There's not anything Jason says to him he'll come back with, but you can't beat me on TV.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Belmo's career 37-20 record on TV. 34th appearance comes today. He's averaged over 214. Won 12 PBA Tour titles.
Nope.
Crossing over, Brooklyn strike.
Bill, what have you seen different throughout the fall series that we didn't see the first half of the year from Jason?
You know, I think that our expectations of him are so high that it makes it seem like, oh, he's bowling bad, but really we bowled the 3 majors, and he made one of the shows, and he finished in the top 10 at the Masters. You know, it's impossible to make every single show, and that's what he was doing for so long. That when he doesn't, it's like, oh, what's wrong? But really, it's just nothing.
Right.
It's not. You can't continue to have that kind of success over and over again.
Saw that very unconventional approach, and then the arsenal for Belmo.
Going with the fight.
4th frame, and hurry, wow! Pin action across the deck, down goes number 10.
Well, you may not see a faster messenger than this. I mean, this is just filthy.
That shot qualifies as our Barbasol close shave of the day.
Watch the head pin. Oh, that's just dirty. Yeah, Doherty, unfazed. He's just going to get up there and throw his little urethane pitter-patter down there and start with the front 4.
Wow. You mentioned no one's bowled 200 yet on this show. 198 for Tom in the first match against Simonson. 193 in the second against Barnes. But he's off to a great start. But it looks like he really has figured things out with the front 4.
Yeah, I think he knows that he has to get. I keep saying he's got to make sure he's slow and his hands up the back of it. And I think as long as he does that and projects it right, he's got a good ball reaction.
Try that again.
I think it's funny how it always works out in matches where you play to your opponent. So when Barnes was struggling, all of a sudden Doherty starts struggling, and he knows that he's got to bowl a bigger game against against Belmonte here, so that's what he's doing.
Looking to stay perfect. How about the front? You bet.
He can't beat me.
60 feet to success for Tom Doherty.
You hear what he said,
And he's
Billy?
pretty confident, Bill.
He said he can't beat me today, right? Is that what he
He said he can't beat me.
Yeah.
Perfect on TV. Right, 3-0.
His ball reaction's way better. Belmo's is going to have to rely on a lot of light mixer strikes, and his ball's having a hard time getting flush, so he's going to need to get lucky here, I think.
What's the most critical for Belmonte? Is it speed?
He's got to get it to the right.
Saw the numbers for Belmo. Heading into the finals.
No.
Like that
Tap on it a
2-4
little
pin
bit.
stance.
He's got to have more things happen for his shot to go flush than Doherty does. He's got to be slower. His hands at the back, but he's got to get it further right than that, which seems kind of crazy to say because it looks like it's almost in the gutter. But
Right.
he's got to get it at least another board to the right.
There's the mark. So Belmo told us yesterday, really couldn't concentrate too much on trying to win Player of the Year again because without the titles yet. Heading into the fall swing now. Successful fall swing. He gets in the conversation. Bill, you're his roommate. What's his mental approach been like the last few weeks?
It's really good. It's always really good. I mean, he knows how good he is, so he doesn't ever lack for confidence. And I don't say that in a bad way.
Six frame. Needs it. 4-pin.
That silly pin.
You just see how lazy the ball is down the lane when you don't get it all the way to the gutter, and that's what happens when the urethane balls go down there. When Tom's ball is making it worse for Jason.
All right, within reason now, of course, wouldn't ask too much background info, but you're his roommate. What can you tell us about Belmo that people don't know? So maybe a funny fact.
He lets me do everything. Like
Okay.
I have, not lets me, I have to do everything. So if I don't like wake him up in the morning,
Oh,
tell
okay,
him what
so you
time
got to
we're
take care
bowling.
of Belmo
Yes,
then.
yes.
I got you.
That's why a lot of times.
Ah.
That's why a lot of times I don't room with him, because sometimes I have to just get away.
That's
Keep
good
this thing
stuff.
going here, guys, and not break because Tom Doherty is on a perfect game as he heads into the sixth, looking to go halfway home. If someone bowls a perfect 300 today, they take home $10,000. There's six.
You know, it's interesting in watching his ball reaction, Bill. He doesn't have to get it to the gutter to get it to hook. He's going so much straighter through the front. In fact, if he does get it too far to the right, it hangs. Look how much straighter he's going with the urethane and how much better and more consistent his ball reaction is.
And I think that was left of target as well. So I think his ball reaction is incredible right now.
There's Bill O'Neill. Threw a 300 at the PVA Wolf Open.
6 of them this week
Not bad.
on this oil pattern.
How many
Dave,
300s for you now total? You must have the count.
No idea.
You don't, Randy?
for me,
Yes.
75.
75.
Yeah.
That's an older players count their 300s. The younger guys don't care.
Wow. So you're saying you have more
Okay.
than 75?
No, I have less.
Oh, okay. We're going to go there now.
But we're there, Randy.
Another one. There's the end of that streak and the 10 pin, but a good shot for Tom Doherty. Still a big lead into the 7th frame.
That's pretty much exactly what you were talking about there. He got it all the way to probably about the second board, and it just didn't. The urethane ball doesn't have enough juice to get all the way back.
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm still trying to get over the last comment. You probably don't know how to keep score.
We got
See, I grew up where you had to keep your own score.
All right. We're going to take a break and let these two guys
monitors
work
that.
this out.
Check out the front part of the lane there where you can see where Doherty's playing. He's playing in between first and second arrow, and Belmonte's track is left of that. The front part of the lane, and that blue oil is starting to come off. there it is.
Wow. Right into that 1-3 pocket, crunching all 10 pins back into the pit. Big shot on the 7th for Belmo.
A little farther right down lane, Bill O'Neill on that shot there, but watch this, the front part of the lane. You can see that his laydown's right around 15, and then just left a second arrow out to about 2.
Look like a little bit slower as well than the last couple shots in that lane.
Yeah, and that can't be a bad thing, right?
Don't
No, he
believe any of
has
the
to.
lies William is telling you. Okay? I know there's lies up there, I know.
I think that was for you, Bill.
Good luck in the books, William.
Young William.
I only speak truths.
The roommates. What do you got to say to Belmo?
I only speak the truth. That's it.
Oh, I love the interaction. That's fantastic. We're up here. He's down there. Great setup here at the arena, as it's known. Roll lanes. Yes, indeed, Belmo. Big shot.
Great move.
He still has a possible 247, but Tom Doherty's going at 249 right now. He's going to need a little help, and in my opinion, Jason will have to strike out to have any chance. But Tom Doherty with another double in the 8th and 9th and a clean 10th frame, he'll move on to the title match.
Wow, ringing 10 pin. Nice looking shot.
I also think he knows that after what happened at the last match, if he feels like if he can put a little heat on him there with that double, you know, it's possible that Doherty doesn't finish it out here.
Doherty much more focused in this match against Belmonte versus the last match with Barnes, and he was a lot more playful and much more serious in this match. Look out.
Whoa, he whiffs on the 10. Just as Randy was saying how locked in he was, it's an open frame to open the door for Jason Belmonte.
What are you rushing for? What the heck was that?
Oh, man.
Strike here and a double in the 10th frame, he still locks out Belmonte, but that was an inexcusable whiff there.
Does come through. That's a nice rebound off the open frame.
That's a great shot after a missed spare, and looked like he was rushing a little bit to take that next shot as well.
You really see his fingers up the back of that bowling ball, Bill, and he lets go of it.
He's throwing it really good right
Yeah.
now. Other than that spare, I mean, this has been a great game.
Now, can Belmonte apply the pressure? He strikes out. He'll force Doherty to double in the 10th.
Canadian Francois Lavoie awaits the winner. Belmo. You bet. Another.
Great shot there by Jason Belmonte, setting up the 10th frame. Boy, that hand was up the back there, wasn't it, Bill?
He knows exactly what he has to do now, and this is what Hall of Fame caliber players do on TV. You know, they figure it out and they make the best shots they can down the end of the games.
Now it's making the shots here in the 10th and getting the pins to cooperate. 3 here forces Doherty to get 2.
It's left.
How often do you see him fall off a shot when it's a good shot?
quick,
Not
mate.
very often, and he fell off of that
too
shot.
quick.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable. As soon as he let it go, it was left off his hand, and it didn't get all the way to the desired hook spot there.
You heard him say it, too quick.
There was a lot of bad there. He fell off, but he threw it hard, and he missed left. So
Agreed. Spare strike will force Doherty to mark.
One of 4 to win the PBA Player of the Year. Koshenko, POY, 3 straight years.
Gotta let it roll.
Roth, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Earl Anthony, legends all trying for another victory here today. Won't be easy. Tom Doherty's going to step up in the 10th with a chance to wrap it up.
strike here is still important. Get your strike here 9 out to tie instead of a win.
average on the 7th pin. Does strike. We finish at 225.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Doherty, any mark. He's going to bowl for the title.
How about a top? Yes!
Yeah! He can't beat me!
Tom Doherty has done it again against Jason Belmonte. He is 4-0 against Belmo, who is not amused by that exclamation.
How would you respond to that, Bill?
He lost. There is no response. What are you gonna do? He has every right to make that claim. He got up there and beat him. And Jason knows that he had a chance to put a lot of heat on him there, and he didn't do it. And shake the guy's hand and try to beat him the next time.
Any ill will between the two?
No, none. There's always ill will when you're competing, though. Yeah, off the lanes are fine.
There's the handshake, and there's the final. 255, 225, and Tom Doherty with only one career PBA Tour title at 41 years old. His 15th year on the PBA Tour is one match away now from a championship.
I don't think so.
And this is the shot that wrapped it up.
Yeah! He can't beat me!
Bill, your thoughts on this match? How do you preview it?
I think you have to give the edge to Doherty. He's the seasoned veteran. He's been on TV, you know, a fair amount of times, and this is Francois' first show, so I always go with the guy with the experience.
Let's see how this begins. Good start, Tom Doherty.
Bill, what did you see with Frankie in warm-ups and how he was going to play the oil pattern?
Well, he was fishing around quite a bit between a urethane ball and a reactive ball, so I think he was trying to decide whether or not he was going to hook it a little more or stay right of Doherty with a urethane ball, and from the looks of it, it looks like he's going to try to stay further right than of Tom and use a urethane ball.
You see how close to the thumb and finger holes that track is on that urethane bowling ball. No flare. Old school.
He gets his hand right at the back of the ball.
First ever TV shot. Francois Lavoie, City, and a double wood.
You like that, Bill? I mean, do you like that look?
I think, you know, just like everybody else on the show, he has to get a little bit slower. You know, first shot on TV, the heart rate's up, you're jittery, and it's almost always firmer than you want it to be. And you know, the rev rate comes down a little bit, and so hopefully he can get a spare here and then settle himself down a little bit.
Those first couple of shots for your first time ever on television, you're sweating like Shaq at the free throw line. I mean, it's brutal.
Can't be easy.
That better hook.
Two-way covers nicely. It's got to feel good. Get the mark for Frankie Lavoie. And Bill and Randy, let's take a look at his form.
Bill, why don't you handle this?
This is a very classic style. I mean, this is a little more old school than somebody you would normally see at 23, even though he does keep that lead arm in front, which is a very you know, new school approach. But just everything he does is very technically sound and just very smooth.
I like that pivot step being open, gets the hips open. He's got a nice looking game though, Bill. Real clean hand at the bottom.
Not a lot of moving parts, which is what you want in bowling. You want to be as, the repeatability of it is extremely important, and I think that's what he does best. His game is just very sound.
He does have a little bit of movement in his backswing, but he repeats it, and upper body is just extremely stable.
3 matches so far. Tom Doherty's strike numbers, trying to keep it going here. Does that. Good looking shot, just like his match with Belmonte. A good start for Doherty here in the championship match.
Well, Bill, when he gets it back from that spot, I think Francois is in big trouble.
I think so as well. I mean, that shot was definitely right off his hand, and you know, the fact that he was able to carry it is huge. I thought it was going to hit the pocket, but I thought a flat 10 was probably the most likely result.
Daugherty, a 10-time regional titleist, no help on number 10. Guys, I thought it was interesting that in speaking yesterday with Tom, we met with all the bowlers in the show, that Tom seemed the most relaxed, as if, you know, I'm going to go in this Wolf Open feeling like I've got nothing to lose. And he's played that way, I think.
I think that's just his personality. He's always like that. But Bill, I think that soft 10 is what you expected in the second frame.
Yeah, I think the difference was that that one didn't get all the way to the gutter. So when the driest part of the lane here is on the first and second board, so when you get it to that far right, it has a chance to carry. Where if you don't, he was a little bit firm on that one, and it wasn't quite at his target, so ball just didn't have enough down the lane to carry.
Frankie, two-time champ, Wichita State team. Sorry, Randy, about that. ITC and also the singles title for the Shockers. Great collegiate career at that amazing program. So many pros and all 10 down.
I was saying a lot of nice things about him, and I forgot that he went to Wichita State. So I should probably change my opinion.
You change all that right now?
Yeah.
Oh, finally, young William.
I'm from Saginaw. I bowled Saginaw Valley, so that was our big rival in school. And
how far did you guys play in the championship at ITC, or how far did you go in terms of competing against Wichita State?
We bowled them a couple times at nationals in the rounds before to get to the TV show.
Got it. There's the arsenal.
Pitch black on the right lane, IQ on the left. Interesting. What say you, William?
He's got to figure it out. I mean, I guess he sees that urethane balls must be going a lot longer on the left lane, so he wanted to use the reactive ball to eliminate that. You know, the amount of oil that's down the lane.
And is the left lane not the tighter of the two lanes? It looked like it was tighter down lane to start.
It looked like that to me as well, but that's why he's bowling and
avoids trouble there, and just the 4-7 could have been a lot worse.
Looks like Mr. Momentum has changed his address.
You know, and Francois was pretty married to the idea of using a urethane ball this whole time, because that's what he used the entire qualifying in the Casters round. So for him to be able to make that move ball on the left lane on the fly like that says a lot about him.
There's the 4-7. First time today that Tom Daugherty has trailed in a match, as Lavoie is off to a great start.
Yeah, this is how the two players are playing the right lane. Frankie Lavoie on the left, Daugherty on the right, and you can see that Daugherty is a little closer to second arrow, and Frankie actually right of first arrow. Daugherty trailing. That hasn't happened a lot today.
That's right. 7-pin high, and the 6-pin for Tom Daugherty. Unfamiliar territory. Randy, how do you come back from that? You've been ahead the whole time.
Well, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to lose your ball reaction, especially in the middle of a game. You know, he's had a nice run. He got by a couple of opponents that didn't really challenge him. The last match against Belmonte had a great look. His execution was good, and it's not uncommon for that to go away after just a few shots.
And his shot there, when he let it go, he thought it had to hook, and it actually went high. So I think his next shot on this lane, he's not going to be very sure what his ball's going to do.
Practice. Frankie here, business administration major at Wichita State. Dabbles in the IT field, but mostly he is a full-time bowler. Fifth frame, looks for the 4-bagger here. And a 10-pin.
That was a beautiful shot. Only to come back with a ring and 10. That's very unfortunate. Working on a 3-bagger, and I mean, talk about trusting it.
Yeah, that's a shot he definitely wanted that one. And when he let it go, he was probably pretty sure there was a strike. So that's a big letdown for him.
Pretty poised for his first telecast here on the PBA Tour, and at 23 years of age. Pretty solid halfway through this game, Bill.
It's his demeanor. It's always like this.
Chris Barnes, Francois Lavoie played at Wichita State. So many greats under Coach Vatican coming through that program. Chris, 18 tour titles. Francois' first ever TV show, so the old guard and the youngster.
Was Frankie even born when Chris turned pro?
He's born in '93.
That was
23 years ago.
That was what you told me that Chris said he was going to say about me.
Oh yeah, Chris told me before the show that we were talking about his age difference, and then he said that you were too old to even be the seniors.
Thanks. Lots more to come. Our title match here from Thunderbolt in Detroit.
Tom Strobel, owner of Thunderbolt Lanes here in suburban Detroit. Thanks to Tom and his great staff for all their hospitality. My first time here, Randy, historic bowling center. The arena as it's known in this great bowling area of Detroit.
Well, Tom's a great host, and we truly appreciate his hospitality. Tom Doherty now trailing by 13 midway through the championship match. Moved in, Bill. Looked like he moved in and created a little more angle.
I think what he saw in that left lane on that last shot scared him a little bit, so I think he's going to move in, and I think that was probably a little firmer than he wanted to, and I think this one here he's probably going to move a couple left and get his speed back down.
That looked like the old Dick Weber trip 5-7. I saw that on YouTube. That's the only reason why I can reference that.
Exactly.
It wasn't
you're
like
not that old.
It wasn't like I was around when he actually did it.
Cut to 3 here, guys. 7th frame. Looks for the double. Big shot. Tom Doherty. Yes. Wow. All 10 down. Finds that 1-3 pocket perfectly. And we've got ourselves a great match here.
Apparently I'm better as a ball rep than I am as a bowler. I need a new job.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got a great set of eyes, and you called it, Bill. I mean, that was perfect. He did move in and gave it a little more room. But, you know, the key in what makes a champion is investing in the move. I mean, trusting it, doing it, and committing to it so that you can pry it off.
That's the biggest thing. You have to commit. Whatever you do, it has to be 100% committed.
7th frame to go back up 13 pin. 10 pin.
Identical back-to-back shots on that right lane for Francois Lavoie. 2 ring and 10s in between strikes. He was on a 3-bagger, did the same thing in the 5th, comes back in the 6th with a strike, and another ring and 10 on the right lane. Good news is he gets to finish the match on the left lane.
Ten pin. Let's flash back. ITC Team Championships for Wichita State. And Francois Lavoie, part of a team title for the Shockers. 2 times he won a team championship, and once in singles as well. That was 2014, that team title we saw. So lots of winning in his past.
Almost disaster coming in light, leaving the 2-4-8. Was that just a little firm, Bill?
That was firm, for sure. I think that goes to what you were talking about earlier about how we saw this lane being tighter down lane, and then as soon as that speed gets up a little bit, it has no chance.
Well, spare here, we'll have a tied ball game heading into the 8th frame for Doherty.
Cover and cannot. It's an open frame and an 8-pin count.
Well, he's looking for some friction out and didn't get it.
I think he threw it exactly where he thought he needed to make that spare, and there's so much oil down the lane that it just didn't make it all the way over there.
And we talk about spare shooting all the time and throwing it straight at spares.
2-pin nudge, but stands.
Bill, let's revisit that whiff on the 2-4-8. Even with the friction to the right, do you hook it at that or do you throw it straight?
That's a really, really tough thing because, you know, you're with the back pin, with the 8 pin there, you want to hook it to create that angle to get that pin, but you just don't know what the ball is going to do because you're aiming at the pocket and the 2/8's on the other side of it, and you don't know how it's going to get over there. So it's a tough call. At this point, I would probably, you would just go with your gut, whatever that said. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there.
Stat back. Check out those numbers for each here. Most important stat, of course, the 11-pin lead. Foundation frame here for Tom. He's not won on tour in 4 years.
It's just
A long-time veteran, only 1 career title. That could change here in suburban Detroit. Ninth frame, big shots. Double wood 2-8.
Slick down lane on the left, and if you get a little quick, that's what's going to happen.
How did I strike on that line?
The location's good, the speed's bad.
Just too firm.
Yep.
This lane is getting really tricky. If we had one more game on this pair, you would see some ugliness on this left lane.
Just really surprised at how low the scoring pace has been on an extremely high-scoring Wolf pattern. They're slow for it. Doherty in the driver's seat, though.
Couldn't do that again if I tried.
Frankie has not struck the last 2 shots on this right lane, both ringing 10s and an open in the 8th. He can strike out for 224 and shut out Tom Doherty. Tom Doherty's best now, 223.
Tomcat watch. Frankie gets the help on the 7th pin. Big strike in the 9th.
Well, in a similar situation a couple matches ago with Chris Barnes. Barnes could have stepped up and thrown a couple strikes in the 10th frame and beat Doherty. He didn't get it done. Can the rookie, Francois Lavoie, become just the 2nd player to ever win on the tour from Canada? 3 strikes and he wins.
Joining Graham Fall. Looking for history. Looking for a strike. Oh, my goodness. 2-8-10. What happened, Bill?
I thought it was a really good shot.
Yep.
This lane is just getting really ugly, and it just needed to be slower. And sometimes it's hard on this 32-foot pattern to get yourself to realize you have to throw it much slower, because you know if you miss a little bit left, it could miss the head pin on the other side.
Really tough spare. 10-pin stands.
Tom Doherty's going to win.
And 192.
He's going to win his 2nd title.
On the bench, Tom Doherty sees an incredible break. Just 5 pins necessary for Tom's 2nd ever PBA Tour title.
Needs 5. He's going to chuck it right down the middle.
Right down the middle to get 9 to get a PBA title. Tom Doherty has won the 2016 PBA Wolf Open from here in Allen Park. How sweet it is. Tom, terrific today.
Thank you, Hammer, for believing in me. Storm, you should have never let me go. You should have never let me go. You threw 4 at me, and I took them all down. Better luck next time.
Tom Doherty has done it.
Good bowling this week, and good luck in the next one.
The youngster, Francois Lavoie, will have to wait for his 1st ever title. It's been a long wait for Tom Doherty to lift that trophy. A champion on the PBA Tour once again, Tom Doherty.
Thank you, Hammer. Number 1, nothing hits like a hammer. I think I proved it.
Overcoming adversity. And 4 tough opponents. Tom Doherty has done it, winning in Detroit. Tom Doherty, first time since 2012, second time in his career. Needed 5, got 9 there, and that wrapped up his win over Francois Lavoie. And a big hug. His ball rep, Mike Calderon. Randy joined by our winner.
Thanks, Dave. Tom, congratulations on title number 2. It's been a few years, but describe the feeling.
Oh man, it's awesome. It never gets old. You know, you never want to be a one-hit wonder. So I wanted to get number 2 for sure, and it's everything I thought it was. It's awesome.
Describe the emotional roller coaster that went on today with the oil pattern. You started with urethane, you stayed with urethane, and it worked. What was going on out there?
They just got a little tricky right after practice, right before the first game, and I had a really good look in practice, throwing it kind of up the back of it. And then in the middle of that game, it kind of went away, and I was completely lost for 2 games. Fortunately, everybody was. Chris got off to a bad start, or he probably beats me. And then in between the games 2 and games 3, I talked to Mike Calderon, the ball rep, and we changed the way I tilted it a little bit and put some more surface on it, went to a weaker one with more surface, and it was able to float through the front a little more without it bouncing off. So then I had a good look.
Well, great strategy, obviously paid off. This is the best year of your career. Does Tom Doherty now need to be mentioned, even though it's early, in the Player of the Year race?
Well, I got a couple more tournaments this week. If I can get them locked up, maybe. I mean, I've made a bunch of shows this year. It's just on TV, it's hard to climb the ladder, and it seems like I qualify first. But I think I'm here, and I'm ready.
Tom, congratulations.
Thank you.
3rd TV appearance of this season for Tom Doherty.
Hammer, baby.
He comes up big. Be sure to join us next week for the PBA Bear Open at 9 o'clock Eastern. Beginning on Friday, log on to PBA's Extra Frame video subscription service to check out the preview show for next week's PBA Bear Open. Congratulations goes to Tom Doherty, winner of the 2016 PBA Wolf Open. For my partner Randy Peterson, our analyst, PBA star Bill O'Neill, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from Thunderbolt Lanes in Detroit. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to CBSSports.com. It's been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Big congratulations to Tom Doherty, a winner on the PBA Tour today.